Welcome to the DTransform podcast by Wight Asia Pacific. I'm your host, Hozack, and for the first time since Wight, the man, started the business more than 50 years ago, we are going back to the future and going to talk tech. With a wealth of experience in melding technology with business processes, I'm excited to face up to the challenge we're all going to have, and that is, how do we leverage the tools and data we have now and at the same time capitalise on what's coming at us without ending up with an assortment of uncoordinated tools and data sets being used to arrive at many different perspectives. After all, the goal in business should still be for everyone to be working to the same destination and same set of plans. We want to be with you on the journey, and as we learn, we want to share and help you navigate through this era where tech integration is not just a nice to have, it's going to be essential for maintaining competitiveness and relevance. Our mission is clear: to provide you with actionable insights and strategies that will keep you ahead in this dynamic tech environment. We've lined up a number of experts in planning systems and data management who are in the trenches now to give you a hands-on view and not just to the latest bright shiny objects. We'll explore transformative insights from the last 30 to 50 years and peer into the future of tech and business planning. So be prepared to be inspired and equipped to face the changing tide of technology. So let's tech transform with Oliver Wight, navigating today, shaping tomorrow, and giving your career a head start by staying ahead of the curve. Before we speak with our guest, Ashish Modi, let's cut over to Olga Papageorgiou for the latest news in data management and AI.
Hi, Rod. I'm glad to be back to share some news about what's new in the world of AI. Today, I'll be sharing some insights from US retail giant Walmart, who recently released the 2025 Retail Rewired report, bit of a tongue twister, but this report explores how artificial intelligence, and in particular agentic AI, is transforming the customer experience from search to purchase. They conclude that consumers are starting to see AI as no longer novel, but essential. And some of the interesting insights include that consumers are now almost as likely to trust AI recommendations as they are social media influencers. And nearly half say they'd let a digital assistant choose and purchase their household items within a certain budget. This doesn't mean that shoppers want to relinquish control. They're looking for AI that can do the grunt work and help them make decisions and ultimately save time, proactively find deals for them, and automate any issues that require resolution. Although the sentiment is overall positive, the number one concern for respondents was that their data privacy and security. And this once again reminds us that strong data governance is the backbone for any successful AI use case. So what does this mean for organizations? Well, for retailers, now is the time to assess what winning in an AI agent-supported world looks like and adapting your digital storefronts accordingly. And for manufacturers, being able to measure if your digital assets make it easy for these agents to understand how your products meet their humans' needs to make sure those products end up in the checkout cart. Well, if you'd like to read the full report, you can find it on Walmart's website or by searching 2025 Retail Rewired Report on your favorite search engine or GPT. As always, I'm keen to hear your thoughts. Do you believe that AI agents will revolutionize retail buying journeys? Let us know in the comments, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again next time.
Thank you, Olga. It's relentless, isn't it? More new stuff coming at us all the time. So let's get over to Ashish. Today, we're diving into the topic that underpins every successful digital transformation: master data management. In an era where AI, automation, and digital transformation are at the forefront of business strategy and thinking, there's one challenge that continues to hold companies back, and that's data integrity. Without clean, structured, and well-governed data, even the most advanced technologies can lead to poor decision-making, inefficiencies, and missed opportunities. To help us navigate this critical topic, I'm thrilled to welcome Ashish Modi. With over 23 years of cross-functional experience across manufacturing, supply chain procurement, finance, and business consulting, Ashish has been instrumental in helping organizations simplify operations, reduce waste, and harness the power of data to drive business success. He is a certified Six Sigma Black Belt, a project management professional, and an expert in master data governance, business process management, and digital transformation. Simply put, Ashish understands the real-world challenges companies face when trying to manage their data and unlock its full potential. So if you're a business leader looking to future-proof your organization, or a tech enthusiast eager to understand the integration of data and AI, this is the episode for you. Welcome, Ashish. Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Are you ready for the questions?
Yes, bring it on.
Ashish, you work with organizations across multiple industries, helping them harness the power of data. From your experience, what are the most common data challenges companies face, and why is master data management so critical for digital transformation?
I would just start off on this question with reiterating the intent of the planning systems. Fundamentally, the planning systems in place to get us an end-to-end optimization of the supply chain processes. The benefits that we or organizations are expecting of their planning systems are multifold. So, improved decision-making and visibility across your planning processes, optimization of your inventory cost, agility and responsiveness that your planning system should provide you with changes in your plans, or as input data changes and new data comes to light. And of course, you need an accurate demand plan coming out of your planning system. If I put my Lean or Six Sigma hat on to say, what are the likely or the probable causes of not achieving the set expectations of the planning system? One fundamental issue that comes up often is around data inconsistency. Having the same data points across multiple systems. So we have two different values sitting in two different systems. If we further drill down, what are the causes that creates these data inconsistencies? The one that I see is data silos. You have two different systems portraying two different values. The reason for they're not aligned, I will attribute towards your data integration. So many a times what we see is either the systems are not integrated, or they are integrated, but then they don't sync up on a regular frequency. Sometimes I hear, our systems sync up every night or once in a week, or I've even heard once in a fortnight. The second one I see is fundamental data quality issues, Rod, all the time. And very simply put, it is inaccurate data, duplicates in your system, missing values between the two systems. Third contributing factor to the data inconsistency is around systems being able or not having governance, and there is no governance policy as to who can maintain changes.
So if I could summarize, firstly, this is about great planning. So this is having the right data that underpins your ability to go from a customer need right through to ordering materials and supply chain integration. The second one is, why do these data issues occur? And that's because we don't have a central data governance process and team around them. Would that be fair?
Absolutely, Ron.
Great. That segues nicely into question two. Many companies invest in advanced technologies like AI and automation, but struggle to see the real benefits because of poor data quality. What are the biggest mistakes organizations make when managing their master data, and how can they avoid them?
Sure. Many a times, Rod, we tend to feel that, throwing in technology will solve all our problems, which is unfortunately not the case. I would start with saying garbage in, disaster plan out. Technology will only be as effective as the master data underlying that technology. The mistakes, as you asked for, one I see is lack of single source of truth. That single source of truth is something that's really missing many a times. And that's why I feel an MDM system is such an important system. Anytime that I'm speaking with customers, I'm trying to give that idea that MDM should be your single source of truth. That system should drive your master data maintenance across all of your systems. Again, that integration piece comes in very handy and important. The other thing I look at many times, Rod, is the mistake is, we've embarked on our digital transformation journey, and we now getting in all these systems in place. But guys, have you looked at the current data quality? Spend some time to cleanse your data upfront. So that's the second mistake I see, that because it's a very expensive mistake. Once you jump in with bad data, you're not going to get benefits, and now you'll realize to go back and cleanse your data. Third one is, again, importance to integration. A seamless integration should be in place with real syncs happening. The next one I would say, Rod, as a mistake I've seen is, again, underestimating the importance of data governance. Putting in policies, putting in workflows, putting in approvals as to, what data can be changed, who can change that data. That needs to be in place to have that discipline of the data governance. Last but not the least, I would also say with time, I've seen your data structures change, your business rules will change, but how is it now being reflected back into your systems? Working with the old data set, the data hasn't been updated, and then your planning systems tend to work on old, outdated data.
So if I could summarize, a planning system is not a static environment. What it has are inputs. There's a process like doing a statistical forecast or running a master supply plan or running your purchasing plan, your vendor schedule. So there's a process that has an output that goes to a customer of that. And what I heard was that's really important to line up that flow of inputs and outputs. That then have well-defined owners, the data that's required. And I would say as an output, the customers also say what they want because they've got to use it. The next point was to derive the single source of truth. One plan for the organization or one set of plans, and you need one set of numbers to do that. The next one was to understand your current data quality before leaping into a transformation, because all we're going to do is transform garbage from garbage into garbage out in the new system. The last couple of points were really important too. So the integration of systems real time and the ability to make sure they stay in sync. The data governance we mentioned earlier and defining standard workflows and policies and procedures is really important. Then the last one, which I think we all forget sometimes, is how do we build in flexibility to restructure the data sets as the business changes? Mergers, acquisitions, new categories, new channels, new manufacturing facilities and supplier points.
I'm completely, in sync with your summary.
Yeah. Let's move on to the third one. So beyond technology, successful data transformation often requires a mindset shift within an organization. What steps should business leaders take to create a data-driven culture and ensure that teams across functions value and maintain that data integrity?
A good segue question, Rod, into change management. And it starts with, when we talk about people, processes, and technology or systems, right? Processes and technology can be programmed to do what you want them to do, but people is the hard piece in there, right? People will do what we expect them to do, provided there is culture built around people. The iceberg model comes to my mind, Rod, because what we see on top of the iceberg is only so much of a small piece of the entire iceberg, right? And I would put that the culture that we see of a community, of an organization, of a team is basically the demonstration of behaviors that this team or a company or a community is showcasing. If you dive a little bit deeper as to what drives those behaviors, it's the principles and the values that people take along with them. Mm-hmm. Your values and your principles showcase out as your behaviors. So fundamentally, if you ask me to your question, Rod, if you want that organization to demonstrate data-driven culture, you will have to provide them with the experience demonstrating this data behavior. So now, how are we going to give or demonstrate or give that experience to people? It starts with the leadership, right? So leaders have to be the role model out here. Simple things that I've seen and I've been able to put into practice have been around leaders demonstrate decision-making based on data. They challenge emotions. They challenge information which is not data-backed, number one. They are constantly looking for performance measurements. So pretty much to me, it is like, what gets measured gets done. Yeah. So you have to be in that practice of measuring and using data accordingly. The next one, apart from the leaders, I would say, is also around the data literacy, right? I mean, it's about educating everyone into the organization at the various levels as to what is the data that they deal with and how does that data impact your upstream suppliers and your downstream customers. Another piece, again, we keep going back to the MDM piece, but out here it is, clear governance policies around data. But another drawback that I've seen with that is people tend to think that it's only that one individual who owns the data and I don't have a role to play. But for that, I would say bring on, cross-functional collaboration. such that, people are responsible for the end-to-end outcome rather than their own individual processes. Last but not the least, also I've learned from Oliver White before, celebrate the whole journey, celebrate success.
So let me summarize. It's a change management approach. So yes, there's people and behaviors, process and technology, but that's a blend to make sure that we understand what culture we want and we move the organization to that. The lead team and senior managers play a critical role because they role model behavior. And we need some measures in place to make sure that, as Peter Drucker has famously said, if you want to change something or you want to manage something, you've got to measure it. Data literacy education is important. And then that chestnut coming back to a cross-functional data governance team with the right structures in place to maintain that data appropriately. Moving on to the next question, with AI and machine learning becoming more embedded in business processes, how does master data quality impact AI-driven decision-making? And can you share any examples where poor data governance led to AI-driven inefficiencies?
Sure. The input data to your planning systems is so much of a fundamental for your planning systems. And I would attribute your planning systems to be using a lot of AI, a lot of automation, a lot of ML pieces in there. And that's how they function for the optimization, right? Taking into so many different inputs, learning with the history, learning with your historical forecast, learning from so many other inputs that we put into the system. And so from that perspective, I would say, that quality of that input master planning data is absolutely fundamental. If any of these are inaccurate, of course, it to inefficiencies. I've seen examples around people fighting this system. And the reason they're fighting is because they're not getting what they were expecting. They thought that, we'll get an output from the system. But then the underlying cause is absolutely the quality of your input. In there. We all expect real-time decisions to be coming through. But again, if your input to the data is not real-time, it's not updated, then the outputs that you're getting are not going to be real-time, decisions. If the planning system has an outdated data, which is not synced in real time with your inventory levels, as an example, I have yesterday's inventory levels, but something has gone out or the inventory has depleted overnight, but I'm still working on yesterday's inventory level. And also a key thing that we look for is optimized resource allocation. So resources, labor, machine, all of that optimization is something that we are looking forward to. But again, poor planning data quality will lead to that inefficiency of utilizations as well.
To summarize, I'm interested in your statement that AI and ML, they're being used now, but in a planning system, even if you're overlaying those technologies, you still need to have your data correct. Oh, and I haven't used this term before, but I'm going to from now on, is that people fighting the results. And then the last bit is back to syncing the data so that your multiple inputs are aligned in time, and that whenever we're planning, such as resources, that's accurate, because otherwise we're actually ending up with an underutilized system. So this one I have to ask as a standard question. I don't even think the experts can confidently answer this one, but let's give it a go. What do you think the future of AI is for companies, and what preparation do you think they need to do right now in anticipation?
Sure. AI is a disruptor. I've accepted that. It's here to stay, I would say. It is being embedded more and more in your business processes. As a leader with my team and my organization, I am trying to build that trust in AI and also being able to look at the efficiencies that it can bring. Even absolutely in the MDM space, I have seen so much of efficiencies that we are being able to bring into, say, into our product or the services that we carry out. Just giving you some examples, there's a lot of cleansing work that happens. And for our cleansing work, say if I'm doing spare parts cleansing, I need the manufacturer part number. Everything revolves around getting the right attributes with the MPN number. There is so much possible that I can look through the description and pinpoint the MPN number. I can look through purchase orders to look for MPN number, and then start doing that AI-based cleansing of things. Matching and merging now being possible. Taking 5 records from 5 different systems and coming up with a golden record. All of that is an output of, the AI ML progress that we've made. Um, and pretty much, anomaly detection, rules mining. So business rules, understanding from your data, what are the business rules? Now, to the question is what do companies can do to start the embracement of AI? I'd say for one, clean your master data, because that's going to be fundamental. Next, I would say is again, investing in building that talent, bringing people of the understanding of AI and who can appreciate, and because you will be using a lot more of AI for sure. The third thing, it goes back to your other question, Rod, about changing the mindset. So getting that mindset in place, building trust, build that trust in the AI models and the outputs. And something that I use a lot, I use AI for a second opinion. So I would say you're not replacing the human capital, but bring the best of the two worlds and do an augmented human decision supported by AI. I don't know if things will change in the future when you say it's going to be the other way around, where human opinion comes in second, AI drives it. I can see that happening. And the other thing I'm seeing more and more is like any other sourcing question that we would see before, right? So I feel that policies and that building that ethics of AI in place is something that we can all start doing now, because I'm seeing more and more of that happening, Ron.
In summary, I think you're right. AI is a disruptor, if not in practice, in mindset. The other thing I heard you say is, let's just start seeing what it can do for us, as opposed to way back when the ERP planning modules were introduced, was that you have to get everything right. You had to clean your data. You had to define the structures, the hierarchies, and it was a massive job. I think that might come eventually, but right now, because they're so user-friendly, we can overlay them nicely on top of what we're already doing. And then the last bit, I'd like your comment, was that let's use this as a second opinion. It may become the opinion one day, but right now, a second opinion gives us comparator, or what I call an anchoring point. Based on the information we've fed it, this is the answer. Now, what is it about the answer we don't agree with, or we know the data doesn't support? It does lead on to the final question from our client database. And I think we might have already answered this one, but it's a doozy. We know our transactional data integrity needs to be addressed, but the job is so big, I cannot comprehend how we would go about cleaning it. What would you recommend, and how would you recommend us going about keeping it clean?
That's bread and butter, and then every request that we get. And I would say start with thinking that you don't have to boil the ocean in this stage, right? Yes, I mean there is structural approach that companies or organizations should take, which involves data cleansing and governance. I would start with the data health assessment. Get to know what your data really looks like. Look for how many duplicates, how many incomplete data fields are in there. So, I mean, it will give you a good idea of and it's a sample. It's not your entire DHA, but then it will give you a good idea of what your data quality looks like. Next, I've seen very ambitious teams and plans to say we are going to fix all of that by our own. I mean, yeah, if you have manageable amounts of data, yes, and you have a dedicated team, yes, you can do that. Once you know what needs to be cleansed, right? But otherwise, I would say invest in a data quality management tool or an automation tool, wherein it will allow you to build some data quality rules to start off with. So the fundamentals. I call them as survivorship rules. What data can survive? Duplicates should not survive. Obsolete data, inactive data should not survive. So a tool will help you build such data quality rules around it, such that it will, and in my experience, I've seen at least 20-30% of your data gets knocked off through the survivorship rule. So let's do the survivorship. What comes out of the survivorship is, again, you don't have to boil the ocean. Let's prioritize. You could pretty much, prioritize your data to high, medium, and low, what needs to be fixed up front. So that's another strategy I would say use that. And beyond that, then go in with automation, AI-based fixing. So, I mean, I'm surprised, Rod. I mean, just from a year back, we used to do a lot of cleansing based on our human capital. And so much now that we can do AI-based cleansing it's very fast. Last but not the least, when you can't get any other mean, you will have to do some manual cleansing because you know your data and your business the best. So that's pretty much around cleaning your data. But the next portion is that, it's not a one-time exercise. You don't want to stop there. You want to take it further to make sure that you maintain it clean going forward from there, right? And that's where your MDM or the data governance piece comes in. I would really say that, the rules that you set to clean your data, you should transfer the same rules to your governance piece to say that next time I create new data, it follows the same principles and the same business rules such that system should not allow you to create any more junk data. So do keep the governance and have a constant data monitoring, because you will tend to see your data quality degrading over time, and that should ring some bells as to say. So, that monitoring is also such a key piece. So hopefully, yes, it's a mammoth job, as you said, but, starting early and before your digital transformation and not ignoring the cleansing or the data quality aspects, I think so you can achieve.
So summarizing it, a few bits that I'll draw from other podcasts. One was data without a purpose is just noise.
And it will get amplified.
And it gets amplified, yes. But the other one is understand what you want to do with your data, then backtrack as to, one, what data do I need and whether there's integrity. 20 or 30% we can get rid of because it's junk anyway, but it's just sitting there. And a data health assessment, which defines and gets an outside view of where your data is now and what could be done to improve it, is a good tip. And then that final one keeps coming back to, I think I'm going to have to put this in red lights, the data governance team, processes and maintenance of your data is absolutely critical.
Absolutely, Rod.
Well, thank you for that.
Thanks, Rod. And yeah, it was nice talking.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Thanks, Ashish.
Thanks, bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Tech Transformation, and thank you, Ashish Modi. We hope you've taken some of the learnings of this practical assessment of planning data and setting up for success with AI. Remember, it's not just about having data, but about having the right data that can set your planning and decision-making apart. Don't miss our next episode, where we'll continue the journey into unlocking technology to help facilitate better processes and decision-making. Make sure you subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and join us again to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in tech transformation. If you'd like to talk to us about how we can help your business with tech transformation, contact us at information@oliverwight.com or go to our website at www.oliverwhiteasiapacific.com. So let's tech transform with Oliver Wight, navigating today, shaping tomorrow, and giving your career a head start by staying ahead of the tech curve. See you next time.